Biggest surprise. Boy, I like that there's 7 categories here. This is the... If this was a Bald Move meme, this would be like the Troglodyte version, because this actually this is the only
it's like the Rickroll kind of.
Yeah, this is like, but this goes back to Gong Radio, the list of 7.
Wow,
long time ago, man.
Gong Radio.
Okay, Barry season 1, Homecoming season 1, The Terror season 1, Always Sunny finale, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Save the Expanse, Bill Hader. Okay, let's
wait. Barry and Bill Hader on this list? We just padded this out to 7.
It might have been. It's starting to feel like that. Do you want to go this from the bottom up?
Sure, bottom up.
Bill Hader. Bill Hader is... I don't know why this always seems like a magic trick when a really good comedian is able to handle drama, because I've heard it argued many, many times that it's all acting, and getting laughs is harder than generating other emotion. So like, I don't know why, but like, it always seems like it's this magic trick when you see this. Like, this is the guy who does bad Vincent Price impersonations on cheesy after midnight Saturday Night Live skits, and he's crushing not only the funny parts of Barry, but the parts where he's a war veteran that's being taken advantage of in this industry and suffering from PTSD and kind of incapable of forming friendships and relationships with people. Like, that's incredible.
It is. Yeah. I was not expecting this performance from Bill Hader at all, and I was impressed by it.
I was expecting like an Office Space version of an assassin thing. I wasn't expecting like poignancy.
Yeah.
And I got poignancy. That's the big, and I guess this is everything I'm saying about Barry, or Bill Hader, you could say about Barry itself, but maybe more so. We'll find out in 6 more slots. Hashtag Save the Expanse. Why is this the big surprise?
Maybe because it's a sci-fi show? I don't know.
I just felt like when it got canceled and they had all these complicated rights, like you know, the one world had it one way, the other, the Netflix had, like, there's all these complicated, and it's expensive, and I'm just used to science fiction shows being canceled in their prime or turning to shit. So I'm like, wow, this is going to take, to me, this is going to take over the spot that Firefly had, the great What If.
Yeah.
And then, like, literally you hear this rumor of Jeff Bezos being a fan and him taking personal interest, and like within a week it was a done deal. And
the way it was announced, like with is it Cass Anbar? He was like,
had the whole crew, had the whole cast there,
and like there was this big meeting, and it was like Cass had like leaked it on his phone that this was a thing that might have happened. And like, I don't know. There was a lot of buzz around this that kind of came out of nowhere. And I didn't expect from frankly, this sci-fi show that nobody was watching, apparently. It's a big surprise, but also like a big, I'm just happy that it happened, you know?
Yeah, and it's like one of those things where it's like you always hear about the fan letter writing campaign that saved Star Trek back in the 60s, and that was like 3,000 letters or something. This like legit took over the front page of Reddit, trending on Twitter, on Instagram, YouTube. Like, so much stuff came out, and like I watched the Reddit group swell in real time. I hope it continues to build an audience, and you know, it's exciting that because I think the Amazon believes in it and has some deep pockets. But the bad thing about Amazon is, as we discussed in other sections of these deliberations, is it does seem like it's really struggling to get ratings. So it's possible that even less people will watch an even better version of this already fantastic science fiction show. That's possible.
The other possibility is it's such a good show that it starts to bring more people into the ecosystem.
Yeah,
into the
like,
Amazon ecosystem.
I think Expanse is like Game of Thrones, is primed to break out of its genre. Like, I remember the BS Report podcast where Bill Simmons confessed, I started watching Game of Thrones. It was like between season 3 and season 4, and so many, like Alan Sepinwall come on there, and Andy Greenwald, and like his own employees would be like, "It's so good," and he's like, "Ah, I don't watch walking around. I don't watch walking through the forest shit. People walking through the woods. It's like I don't watch." And like he just like I feel like it's primed to bust out of this. Oh, it's a space show. Yeah. Like I don't watch shit with phasers. Like it's literally Game of Thrones in space.
It is, yeah, with some direct ties back to like Martin through the people he's worked with and stuff. Yeah.
If maybe like that's the thing is like I could also see this being just like Game of Thrones in space, and that like maybe some writing problems start creeping, and Dan and Ty don't finish it, and like it. But
they've got a better track record.
They got a better track record and a much larger, I guess, runway.
Yes. Yeah.
So
their 7th book came out this year or last year, I guess now.
So yeah, the fact that The Expanse did not get canceled. It was shocking to me that Sci-Fi canceled it, because it was doing as well as some of their other expensive shows, like The Son of Krypton or whatever the fuck that is, and
they had this philosophy of like, we're gonna double down in our sci-fi stuff, and we're gonna get some really good shows in here.
And it was really good, and like critically, I was getting even better reviews than Battlestar.
Yeah,
and I think it's a much better show than Battlestar. So I couldn't be more pleased that it survived. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
I didn't think an animated Spider-Man would interest me.
No, I thought visual. I was expecting to be kind of blown away visually, because I saw the trailer and it looked like a very innovative animation technique. But I didn't expect much from like a manga Spider-Man. And holy shit, it ends up being. I mean, I don't know where it's going to end up in the like Bald Movies rank, or like I don't. Also, I know that the Oscars came out, I think today or yesterday. I didn't see if it made it. Like it surely will make noise in the animated category, but I think you can make an argument for this being in the field of 12. If Black Panther is going to be in there, like if you're going to say that like superhero films are going to start being able to be in here on a regular basis, and not just like the weird auteur ones that have a well-regarded actor that kills himself that year. Like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, sure.
Best.
Do they have an anime category? Surely they do.
I think they have anime. They have animated.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay, well, I'll probably win that.
Yeah,
if I had to guess.
Yeah. The Always Sunny and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia finale. Did you get it?
I watched this last night. I didn't get it.
Oh no!
So I love the Frank stuff, but I was much like Frank in the beginning of this. I didn't get it. Like I don't get that last 10 minutes.
It's how would I explain it?
Please do if you can. I don't know what about that was.
How would a character like Mac come to grips with his homosexuality and present that to the two father figures in his life? And we're talking about like a very profoundly closeted, homophobic, self-hating, delusional, in denial gay man.
Up until like season
up
ago?
Until like this season. How would he like blossom? Would he be the kind of guy who would be down to like do pony dances on a gay pride flag? Like what does being gay mean to him? Because it's clearly not like gay pride type stuff.
Right.
And
it's not BDSM stuff.
And that Rob Rob McElhenney?
McElhaney, I think is how you say that. Yeah.
That he would sculpt his body into something that would be this payload that only like I don't know how much he trained to get to dance. And also like it's the way it's like you like when you see the girl that he's practicing with like walk out of his apartment, you think that he's gone and doing something else. He's run back to heterosexuality because
that, yeah.
Exactly. And it's just the way that all pays off, and then like his real father ultimately turns away in disgust, and his like adoptive father like. I guess I didn't imagine. First of all, did you not find it beautiful? Just
no, it is.
Like out of nowhere, they do this interpretive dance sequence.
I did. I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I kept waiting for the joke to hit, and that show has kind of trained me to think that way. And so when it doesn't, I was just kind of left like, well, that was nice to look at, but I guess I don't understand really why this is Mac's way to express it.
how, I mean,
like I almost think
you're right, it's not an obvious choice, but to me, as soon as I saw it, it immediately made sense, and I don't know how to communicate that feeling if you didn't have it.
Yeah,
like the whole time, me and Cecily are sitting there with our mouths agape at just like, I mean, shit, I'd watch this on, if someone sent this to me as a YouTube, is just like, watch this interpretive dance, like, I'm not, all right, 30 seconds in, I'm into it, and just how serious it's taken, and how much dedication this man has been through in the last year just for this one fucking not joke the land. I just thought it's Always Sunny as fuck, man. No other show could possibly pull it off, but then, you know, I did hear a couple people say I didn't get it, so
I just didn't get it. I'm not saying it's bad.
Maybe it's built up to because you heard so much about it, its reputation.
Yeah, I mean, I was hearing good things about that finale, and I like it. I don't know how to process it, I guess. Like,
it is a bit of a cliffhanger. It's an emotional cliffhanger, too.
Yeah, I mean, it fades out after the dance, so it's like that's kind of where it leaves you. I guess I just didn't understand the relationship of the dancers. I don't know. I have zero experience with interpretive dance. If it's not in The Big Lebowski, I haven't fucking seen it. So part of it may just be me simply not understanding the language of interpretive dance, but I don't know what I was watching. I know that it looked good, and I understand like it took dedication and, you know, a lot of work to get to the place where they could put on this performance, but as to what it means, I have no fucking idea.
I think there was like a freedom aspect. There was like him wrestling with what masculinity looks like in the context of him being gay, and you know, I think yeah, I mean, I struggled to put it into words, and I like also kind of like, well,
which is why it's in dance form, right?
Right. I think that's the other thing is like, how would Mac actually express that? And any, like, you know, this is as valid as any other, and any, I don't know. Like I said, I wish I could explain it better or even walk my thought process. I'm sure if I watched it again, I could like make like, okay, I think this is the language they're using, but and it's not like I watch a ton of interpretive dance, but like fair enough point. Like I do watch musicals and shit where, you know, like there's like whole 5-6 minute sections of like Singing in the Rain where it's kind of like this, like they're telling a story of a man and a woman, and it's entirely through the set and the music and their dance moves. So like maybe I'm a little bit more primed, but well, bummer. I guess that can't be the biggest surprise then. Although it would be pretty. I cannot tell you how surprising this was to actually experience in real time. Like,
that's true. I was not expecting what I got at all.
But you were expecting a big event, and I wasn't. I was expecting like just more dick and fart jokes and Danny DeVito's face being increasingly a train wreck.
Yeah.
So all right, well, let's move on to the terror.
Okay. This is a huge surprise.
Yeah, like there was not a lot of buzz, not a lot of just like it just dropped, and I remember I should watch this, but pretty busy, not going to. You actually watched it before me, and like, dude, this is so fucking good.
Yeah.
And
it was really a lot on the strength of just Jared Harris and his work in like Mad Men.
Yeah.
And like, I like that actor. His work in The Expanse, frankly.
Yep.
And I wanted to see what he could do in this setting, and the setting looked inherently interesting to me. Just like these frozen ships and how these people are going to survive. And that show turned out to be so much more than that.
Yeah.
And it goes places that I didn't expect it to go. And it was on AMC, which at this point is kind of a shit show, in my opinion.
It's like the small hometown we moved out of and never looked back because...
Yeah. Yeah, it gave me what I needed to get to where I am now.
I think AMC might be quietly posed for a little bit of a comeback.
Maybe.
They've done some like...
I hear good things about like Preacher and...
Right, and then they did Halt and Catch Fire, which was a little uneven, but they rounded into good... Like I think they're still like... The ratings haven't come yet, but they're doing they're doing interesting and noteworthy work again. So kudos to them.
And the terror was that.
And I'm really looking forward to season 2. Homecoming. I don't know anything about this other than what you've said in other segments, and that you're really high on it, and there's a lot of people that like it on the forums.
Yeah,
it's got Julia Roberts in it.
Probably hard to recommend this as like the top spot on Biggest Surprise because people had been telling me it was good, and I would never have watched it if people hadn't said, this is good, you need to watch it, this is good. Sam Esmail, you need to watch it. He's better than he's ever been. So I heard that quite a few times before I finally decided to give it a go. I guess it's not like super surprising, though. I mean, anything coming out of Amazon Prime at this point, that's like really stellar.
Well, I think it's important because like Sam Esmail now has a second solid thing under his belt, kind of like when we saw Noah Hawley do Legion, and it wasn't everyone's cup of tea, and I know you didn't watch season 2, but
I thought it was good what I did see.
Legion, I think, cemented him as like, oh, this is a guy you have to watch. You know, once you like in a way, kind of like I'm unfortunately the Wiener is in an awkward spot because he did some of the best television ever and some of the worst I've ever seen on his sophomore effort. So like, I think it's if this is as you say, I think this is a big deal for the career of and interest of Sam Esmail.
I don't want to overhype it though. It's not like the best show I watched.
It's not The Expanse. It's not Breaking Bad. It's not.
I mean, I don't know that I was as engaged by the story as I was The Terror, for instance. But like, from a filmmaking perspective and a cinematic perspective, it's just revolutionary in my mind. But we'll see what you think of it.
And then Barry. You know, we've talked about Barry. Barry's going to make a lot of noise in our comedy category. It's got marvelous performances by Henry Winkler and Bill Hader and the guy that plays NoHo and the guy that plays the NoHo's uncle, brother, boss. It's just got so many
Stephen
great.
Root we didn't talk about at all.
Stephen Root is fucking hilarious. This is very much like The Expanse of comedies for me, in that I watched this thing almost in real, like I couldn't wait for the next one to come out. And like every week, it kind of like the first 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, this is really funny and dark and I like it. And then the third week is like, oh, and it can actually do competent action. That's an interesting facet to add to this show. And then like 4 and 5, I'm like, oh shit, they can go for like pretty big drama too. And Bill Hader can like hang with some of this performance. Like and then I still think that the final episode is so goddamn ballsy in what it does.
Yeah.
In I don't want to spoil it because it's remarkable, and it doesn't take very long to catch up on this thing, but like it was unafraid to logically follow through all of its conclusions.
Yeah.
Which really puts the main character in some tough emotional space within his own universe, and honestly, my relationship with him as a viewer.
For sure.
Season 2 is going to be I mean, it'll be interesting to follow up because they definitely went all in on the Villigans, paint yourself in a corner and see what happens in the writing room next year. It's like it's gonna, because if they don't watch out, they're gonna have a very unlikable premise with an unlikable star, and it's supposed to be a comedy. And what the hell do you do with that?
Yeah, no, it's strange. Like, I don't know what to even call this show. Is it a comedy? Is it a drama? Which one is the primary thing here? Like, is it an action show? Because this is like the Always Sunny finale dance thing. Yeah. I don't know how to describe this show to someone. Like, they seamlessly blend the darkness and the ridiculous comedy, and there's that scene
there's like gross
at the airstrip. Remember when they pull up in the airstrip and they're in the fucking SUV, and it just gets that scene, and the final episode like blew my mind.
No, there's like there's DNA of Grosse Point Blank, MacGruber, Leon the Professional. There's just so much that they're riffing and lifting from, but also just a whole unique. I mean, because the
way they combine it all, is something I can't describe, but you feel it, and it feels real good.
I do think of these like amalgams, like Atlanta's the same way. It's like, is this a very funny comedy, or is this a very funny drama, or is it a very dramatic comedy? I do think that Barry mostly stays more on the funny. Like, they will get gut-wrenching, but there'll always be the next level joke, and about the only time they don't do that is the finale, which I think is appropriate. You know, you want to have that tension throughout. BoJack does that very well too. Since they've done it for 5 seasons, it's not a surprise. All right,
and it was a big surprise because, like we mentioned about Bill Hader, he's a comedian.
Yeah,
to us. So
I think it's cheating to have both of these on here. Can we get rid of one? Is it a bigger surprise that Bill Hader can act?
No, I mean that whole show is a surprise to me.
Okay,
I think we get rid of Bill Hader. And
all right, Hader.
we remove this from the pantheon of top 7 lists.
Okay. Let's say is Homecoming season 1 more surprising to Barry? Doesn't seem like you would say it.
Probably
is.
not. No.
Is it more surprising than is the Terror more surprising than Homecoming? I have to recuse myself from all.
Yeah,
Homecoming.
probably. I mean,
all right.
The pedigrees are on the opposite ends of the spectrum for me.
Right. What about Always Sunny? Is it more surprising than Homecoming? Yeah, this is a tough one to judge with you not getting it.
I will say I did not expect what I got. Like you had been hyping this episode up for me, and even then I didn't expect it.
Mm-hmm. The biggest surprise is also not like...
It also has to pay off.
It's not like I come up and punch you in the face when you get up in the morning. That's a huge surprise, but not a welcome one. No. There's an element of welcome, like, oh, kind of surprise, not like, oh, God, or screaming.
Right, it's like the biggest biggest
pleasant
reward
surprise,
category.
yeah.
It has to pay off.
Yeah, or else what are we doing here? So
for me, it didn't, but I mean, for you, it really did. I don't know how to rank those. Especially when we're talking about Homecoming.
The thing is, I do think it fundamentally changed my idea of what Always Sunny could be if they wanted it to be.
Okay.
Like, they're still extreme, because even that episode you didn't get, it's still a very funny episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I mean, Frank alone is
I think they did that. Like, they got Danny DeVito, like, look, we're going to put a shit ton of prosthetics on you and have you go for broke on physical comedy, because this fucking thing Rob's doing, who knows what's going to happen with.
Right.
And, like, at least you'll get to the 20-minute mark with a smile on your face and expecting something, and then, like, so, like, and kudos for them. What they do is hard.
Oh, yeah.
What they do is hard. And I think important.
Especially 13 years in.
Yeah. Like, they're engaging with societal issues in a way that, like, I feel like appeals to, like appeals to the type of people that it probably needs to appeal to,
And I feel like it's a recent development in Always Sunny. Like, they've always kind of leaned into the we are awful people, and
yes,
we get maybe a little punished, but we're kind of always fine.
Yeah.
And we ruin the lives of people around us. But this season, they seem to have stepped up their, like, social consciousness a little bit.
But without losing any, like, edge.
No, I mean, Dennis is still being absolutely awful.
Yeah.
But the show is just framing it a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of cool with that. I welcome that change.
Okay.
So where would you argue that Always Sunny needs to be?
I don't think it can be higher. I don't think a 10-minute section at the end of the episode, at the end of the season, that does redefine what I think the damn show's capable of. 13 seasons in. I don't think it can be better than Buried the Terror, but I don't know.
Right.
So it's like home. Like, I feel like, it'll probably just stay where it's at. Now,
okay.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, like, I think might be a top 3. But then Save the Expanse, like, how do you quantify that? Because that was a very pleasant surprise. I thought I was going to lose because I think the Expanse, we haven't debated this yet, but and maybe we shouldn't, but, like, the Expanse is one of my favorite shows this year. I really loved it.
Is it in the dramas this year, or?
Yeah, oh yeah. It's definitely
that happened this year.
Yeah, that happened last year. But yeah, the Expanse was one of my favorite things on television this year. Like, it's Game of Thrones level enjoyment, and looking forward to
this.
For me.
This is the show that I sat down every week. That was a pleasure to watch. That I was waiting for, anticipating.
Yeah.
Hard to say that about most other shows I watched this year, even if they were really good.
Yeah, there's some television that, like, you're like looking at your watch and tapping your foot about, like, oh man, when's it gonna be, And there's some that are like, oh well, it's I need to see it, and I need to see it the next 2 days because we do a podcast, and then there's the Expanse is a pleasure watch for me. So fuck, man? I don't know how to do this. Because I can make an
think
argument
Spider-Man
for Save
and
the Expanse.
need to go up.
Yep, but I could make an argument that Save the Expanse should go to the top.
I could maybe follow you there.
I'm gonna throw it up there just to see how it looks.
Yeah, see how it sits.
I think Spider-Man 2 needs to go down. But why? Why? Okay, why is Spider-Man less surprising than Barry? I mean, to me, it's just at this stage of the Spider-Man game, everything's been done. Like, they somehow make 10 different origin stories of Spider-Man fun, even though you're sick to death of them, and reinvent what Spider-Man can be, and also do a damn good conventional Spider-Man film. All at the same time. With jaw-breaking, technologically sophisticated and beautiful artistic work. That's pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a hard time arguing a comedian doing drama over Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But
I think Barry's innovative too.
It's more than just a comedian doing drama. But I have a hard time saying that it was a bigger surprise, because honestly, when I heard animated Spider-Man, my expectations go to zero. Now, I had seen like Bill Hader in Documentary Now and playing a lot of different roles, like most of them definitely in the hardcore comedy category, but like also stretching and branching out and like doing things that aren't all comedy. So maybe I was a little more primed to think, okay, I want to see this thing that Bill Hader is doing, as opposed to Spider-Man, which was like, I don't really have any interest in this. And then I heard the buzz, and then I saw the previews and like really heard the buzz. And when I saw it, it was great. So I feel like, honestly,
So you like 1 and 2?
I feel like we might be zoning in on the actual list here.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if maybe Barry and Terror flip.
Oh, really?
But that's where...
I'm trying
because
not to
I guess
judge these totally on success.
Yeah,
alone,
if I saw the premise of both of these, and I would be like, oh, I think the Terror probably be good.
Right.
Whereas Barry, I'd be like, well,
that's well-trodden
it sounds
ground.
crazy.
Yeah.
I want to check, but I'll check it out. It's on HBO. So I guess that's the argument for Barry.
Yeah, the disparity between expectations and results.
Yeah.
Is bigger
that's
on Barry.
That's all. I think that's
bigger on.
I think you just defined surprise. I
Yeah.
I think this is a debate that's over now.
Right.
Well done.
And I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, yeah, expectations versus results. I fully expected The Expanse was gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fucking result there is this lunatic billionaire steps in with his personal pocketbook,
launching copper rockets to the moon.
Says, no, fuck you. I'm buying this thing and we're going to do this. Like,
because Jeff Bezos loves Expanse as much as we do.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. So of course that wins.
Almost as much as copper.
So I don't know. I like this list.
Okay. Then there we go. Biggest surprise. We settled on number 1 as The Expanse. # Save the Expanse. Number 2, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Number 3, Barry Season 1. Number 4, The Terror Season 1. Number 5, Homecoming Season 1. And at the bottom, the inscrutable Always Sunny Season 13 finale at number 6.